Hi and welcome to Dazmaul Wargaming. You've joined me as always, Daz. I'm joined as sort of always by Lewis. Hi, Lewis.
Hello.
How are you?
How are we all? I'm alright, mate. You?
Yes, all good. And we are joined by super special guest, Sylvapaints. Hi,
Hello, everyone.
Sylvapaints.
Hi.
So super happy to have you on. And yeah, if anyone doesn't know who you are, they need to go over to Instagram, and I've put the little the tag on there so that they know exactly where to go, and I'll leave it in the description of the video so people can go and do that. So yeah, just gonna talk to you about your hobby and stuff, if that's okay, and ask some questions that people have also asked to put forward to you, if that's all good.
Great. Sounds
Yeah.
like a plan.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. So, what I like to ask first, and I'm quite intrigued to know, is sort of how long ago, sort of when did you get into like this hobby? You know.
Yeah, I actually just posted this today on my story on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Because
cool.
It hasn't been that long. It's been fairly recently. It's been about 6 months now.
Wow.
I think I did my first post on Instagram on the 10th of July, and that was pretty much the exact day when I started, like when I received everything and started painting and getting into it. So it's been about 6 months now. And
Wow.
yeah.
So short
fun.
time, really.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me on to a question that sort of I've not got written down because I'm quite intrigued. Is like a lot of your work, we'll put some up in a minute and talk about it, but a lot of the work that people can see, like that you're doing, like on Instagram, the quality of it is like amazing. And like, were you a painter before this hobby?
No, not really. Like I've always enjoyed art, and I was always like naturally very creative. I loved anything crafty, or in high school I did like my A levels in art as well, but just more because it was like an easy grade. It always came like quite naturally.
Yeah.
But then since I graduated school, really, I haven't done any arts whatsoever. So it's really kind of dealing with colors rather than just like sketching and painting things accurately, like really dealing with colors and color theory and all that, and on a 3D model. That's very new. But yeah, loving it.
Awesome.
Learning a lot.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's great. And I noticed as well that you've you sort of started learning like how you've been like gaming a bit now.
Yes, but that's very recent because
Yeah.
I didn't feel like super up to the task yet until recently. But now we started a few practice games, and I joined the Vanguard Tactics beginners course. They're doing like a 7-day beginners course that started on Tuesday, and I think they're gonna do it every month now.
Amazing.
And yeah, so I'm on day 4 of that today, and slowly learning. I've had like 2 practice games that were very friendly with like 500 points each, and so I'm like just about learning the basics. But yeah, super fun.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so is it just 40k at the moment for you, or are you branching off into other game systems?
So in terms of gaming, definitely just 40k at the moment. I feel like that's overwhelming enough.
Right, got you. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm never gonna say never, because I change my mind all the time. So who knows what I'll get into? But because initially when I started, I was like completely hooked on AOS. I was like, I don't care about 40k. I don't want to have anything to do with aliens or robots. Like that's nothing for me. And then I was kind of peer pressured into it, because I realized no one's, at least in my circle, no one's playing AOS.
Oh wow. Okay.
Or painting AOS, or painting. Most painting, but not really playing it. So that's how I got into 40k, and now really loving it. Really So I feel like I'm going to stick with it for a while, but if I want a new challenge, then I'll probably look for something else. Who knows?
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I say actually, I was unaware of the 6 months thing going into it, so I thought it may have been a bit longer than that. So assuming then that your first sort of models would have been the Harlequin models, correct?
That was actually the Sylvanef because I started with
Oh,
AOS, and hence
Great.
the name Sylvapaints because
Great
when
choice.
I thank you. That's what I thought as well. I went through the website and was like, don't really like any of them.
Yeah.
And then I came across the Sylvanef and I was like, oh, I love them. I love them. They're so beautiful. And I still love them. I feel like they're absolutely stunning models.
Yeah.
But more for like nice painting jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than actually playing with them and having like a full army. But yeah, that's how the name Sylvapaints came about.
You're asking
because I
all.
was working
You're
on the Sylva-
answering all of these questions too quickly. There's questions I haven't even answered yet, and you're answering them. Wow.
Feel free to ask me again.
No,
You
that's
can always
that's all
elaborate.
good. No, this is some good information. So yeah, so you started Sylvanef, some first models, hence the name, and then sort of your local community that you were into, it was more 40k, so you sort of drifted over to that. And that was when the Harlequins came into it, because I think like from your Instagram and things, like you're quite well known for like your Harlequin stuff.
Yeah. I was working. My second model that I did was the Lord of Pain from Slaanesh, I think.
Yeah.
So it's this little guy here,
Mm-hmm.
and I posted him, and then someone messaged me and was like, "Hey, you would love Harlequins," and I was like, "What are Harlequins? What's that?" And then looked into it, and I was like, "Oh, that's 40k," and I feel like, okay, I really like them, and that would kind of be like the only model in 40k I would be somewhat drawn to initially. And yeah, I just love a bit of freehand and having like lots of space to do my own designs and being like not tied to a strict color scheme. So I was like, those are perfect, and yeah, that's how I started to like 40k. Really.
Yeah. Oh well, that's really cool. I say I take my hat off to anyone that does Harlequins and can do them well, because
yeah, I completely agree with you, Daz.
they're very much.
I've seen your Harlequins. I just sit there and like, I can't even reach that level.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think the last time I tried Harlequins, I gave up. I was like, I have to do this another day.
Yeah. So yeah, we will go through a few of your sort of like work in progress pics and things like that from it, so you can sort of chat to us about how those came about and things like that. But you at the moment you're only on Instagram, correct?
Yes, at the moment I'm only on Instagram, but there are plans for more. So I'm definitely like in 2022 I'm gonna look at YouTube. Initially I thought that I was gonna stay away from that just because it's like so much more time consuming than to just document your hobby journey on Instagram.
Yeah,
it's a bit more straightforward. But I mean, I feel like if you paint miniatures, you spend a lot of time on YouTube, and I feel like I have the urge to contribute something.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I say, I wish that I could. I can do it, I suppose, but I wish that I would spend more time on Instagram posting stuff like that you've done. I don't know. I guess I just like the streaming side of it, and it's just I don't know. I guess you just got to do what you like, really, other than what there's that's what matters. So, but yeah, it's cool that you're thinking about sort of getting out there on like doing the YouTube things and stuff like that. As I always look forward to seeing like your stories on Instagram come up and what sort of things you've been up to.
I'm relieved to hear that, because I always feel like once I have like 30 stories in my little storyline, I'm like,
no, I love it.
I'm annoying the hell out of people.
Like I said, I don't use Instagram that much, but so for instance, like I don't follow that many people, and in return, I haven't got that many followers, to be fair. And by the way, you've done absolutely amazing. Was it now 14,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing achievement. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Round of applause for that. because I couldn't do that. So yeah, no, that's awesome. For you know, the length of time you've had that account as well, that's amazing. But yeah, you know, I've got a few people on there, and a lot of it is hobby related. Some other stuff is like drums and things like that, other interests that I've got. But I just always love going through the stories of the few people that I'm following that are hobbyists, and just following their hobby journey and what they're up to, and just seeing if I can get some inspiration for my own stuff.
Yeah.
Really. So it's really cool platform, and so anyone that wants to be inspired needs to go and follow your Instagram.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Really. Because I personally love, and I feel like there are very few people in the 40k or Warhammer space that actually like do some sort of vlogging almost like during the day. And actually that's super enjoyable. And it's like, even though people think, oh, there's not much happening, like what should I talk about, it's like just the fact that they, I don't know, sometimes say like, oh, actually today I'm really struggling, I don't really know where to start or what to do, and then you're watching that and you're like, oh, thank God, I thought I'm the only one. So
Yeah.
I love watching that type of content with others. That's why I kind of got into it. I initially made the account only to post my work, but that kind of drifted into a more like what I'm up to style.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, I love sharing it, and I love engaging with others, and yeah,
it's really
great.
cool. It's really cool. So I don't know if before we look at some of your, you know, miniatures, if Lewis, did you have any questions there? Did you have anything that you would
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions actually, because I saw like your post of your Sylvapaints, and I saw that in the background you'd done like a watercolor of the palettes that you were maybe looking to do.
Oh yeah.
So do you do that for all the miniatures that you approach, or do you have like a set thing in your head, or do you just think, I'm going to pick up a color and then I'm going to run with it?
It's I've gotten more confident with it now. In the beginning I was like scared to touch the model, so I really wanted to like sketch everything out and make like a proper plan, but that was pretty much the only model where I did that. From then on I have like a very rough idea, but more that's very abstract, like in terms of I have an idea of certain colors, and I have an idea of like I look at the models, and then I have like certain color schemes coming to my mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'll stick to them. It's very much a work in progress. So I quite literally paint like leg by leg, like one leg one leg here, especially that works perfectly well for Harlequins, because you can make them all over the place. I find it a bit more challenging now with the model I'm working on for mini wargaming, for Dave and his line of miniatures, because that's like the first time where I have to be a lot more consistent with the scheme I'm choosing. Like I choose it in the beginning and I have to stick with it because it's a whole armor. So that's quite interesting, but normally I'm very intuitive. I just take the next color that comes to mind.
Awesome. And then is there, like, as a follow-up question really, is there anything that you look like, do you go out and look for stuff that is inspiration, or is there like a certain go-to that you have, like, that's what I want to look at first, then I'll go off?
Well, if I'm painting something like a new aesthetic, so to speak, like if I paint my Harlequins, I now have like my inspirational pictures in my head. I know what I want to go for. But if I tackle a new model, I usually I have certain things that jump to mind, and then, for example, when I did the what's it called, Star Weavers for the Harlequins. I was like, okay, there's so much space for a big freehand. I have no idea what I want to put on there. Then I would be like, okay, I have certain things that come to mind. I like a specific style of art, or a very specific mood, or specific colors, and like literally go through all of Google and take like my favorite artwork that I see there, or even like historic things. Like initially for the Harlequins, I was looking a lot of like jesters, I think they're called. Like literally like historic paintings of those, and I was like, oh, I really love the color schemes in those, and then save like, I don't know, 10-15 pictures and put them together on like a digital mood board. And that kind of is my starting point normally, just for me to collect my mind, because my problem is not normally that I don't have any idea. I have way too many ideas, so I need to like collect them and be a bit more specific about them.
So I just want to say hello to Necromancer with Hat in the chat. There's some guys lurking in the chat, so say hi. Got any questions for Sylvapaints, do shout them out. And I also want to say thank you for the follows during that to Halo 40k Dude, Donatello, and Dr. Rhino. So thank you for the follows.
They're incredible names as well.
I know, right? I'm always amazed at the creativity there as well for names, because that's so difficult to come up with names and stuff. So yeah, I mean that's awesome stuff, and I just want to share this now because it's, you know, I get inspired by this sort of stuff. So let's switch over now. We're going to start looking at stuff. So Sylvapaints, you can't actually see this stuff.
No, but if you tell me which one you're looking at, I'll know.
So we are now looking at one of your jet bikes, I believe, which it looks like you've put like the Harlequin masks on the hood of the jet bike.
Yeah.
And you've got your like swirly patterns going off on there.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so there's actually a video on your Instagram, I think, of how you do that swirly pattern. And I so wanted to steal that for something, but I've got nothing to use it on right now. So and I'm not starting Harlequins. No, I'm not. So
you are.
So yeah, I mean,
you can use that for so many things. I mean, you may have seen I recently put it on the bottom of a coat of one of the Harlequins, rather than like a whole jet bike. I just put it on the coat. That worked well.
That's that's cool. But this technique is also, I don't know if you want to share it here on a thing, or we can just get people to go over to your Instagram and watch the video for it.
Well, it's really easy. It's like so simple. I always get like questions. I'm like, oh, like how do you do it? It seems like you have to do this and that. I'm like, people, it's so easy. I went live the other day and I was like, I'm literally doing it right now. I'm gonna show you how easy it is. And it took, I think that whole video is like 4 minutes 30 for like the whole thing. So all you do, you take like, I normally take like 3 colors. So for example, my base color, which is normally black, like you want to have something dark, ideally. You want to have like the colorful color that you can be like this pink, and then you need white. And that's like all you need. You take them straight out of the pot, make like a thick layer. You don't mix anything with water. That's like the key. I think that's the one thing where people went wrong a bit, because everyone's used to like watering down the colors, but in that case you really shouldn't, because you don't want the colors to mix. You put like a thick layer of the base coat, then a few drops of each of the highlighting colors, and then you take like a little, I always have this it's not quite a toothpick, it's like how do you call these, it's like
a dental
floss
heart thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I take that end of it, and then just make little swirls with it, like like you do with a brownie or a cake.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
And then that's it. That's literally all it takes. It's so quick. It's like takes.
I was thinking of using it on like my Dark Elder stuff, because I've got stuff from one of my first armies. So like way back when, my old Dark Elder stuff, like 3rd edition 40k, that's still in boxes. I've just built, and I can't think of a color scheme, and I'm not inspired to do anything on it, and I don't want to put paint on it until I am inspired, because I don't want to ruin models that are that old and like hard to replace, and I don't want to start stripping models of that, because it's just, I know that I will ruin it, but a part of me wants to do this.
What I love about this technique is that you can so easily apply it to like an entire army, because it's so quick and it really quickly looks really impressive.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people are quite fascinated by it. And to be like honest, this is not something like I came up with. Like this is maybe that's my advantage. Like I know that this is often used in like nail design.
Yeah.
You know, when people get like acrylics, like they use that technique.
Oh, me and Lewis know everything about that.
Hey.
Do you? Yeah. I can see that now. Wow.
Yeah.
Me
and Daz don't play Warhammer. We do nails.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, I don't go to the salons myself, but like I've seen it a couple of times, and I was like, oh, that's very intuitive to do, and then I was like, let's try it on the Harlequins. Worked very well.
I will mention as well while we're on this current picture, because it's quite evident in this one, but I noticed going through them, your hand is always covered in paint. Like, yeah. So literally, is that your technique? Like to like get a point on the brush, is it, or to remove excess paint, or?
Yeah. If I want to do like, especially if I'm doing freehand or very sharp edge highlighting, something that needs to be done very carefully, I literally wipe like 90% of the paint off, and that's how it all ends up on my thumb. Just to make sure I don't have any like lumps of paint on there. So
awesome.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it when like the whole thumb is like full of colors.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And I assume like the masks that you've put on the jet bike there, they are just from like a Harlequin kit that was spares.
Yeah, I'm a very minimalistic, sustainable person. So I was like, oh, I have all these like extra bits of sprue left.
Yeah.
What do I do with them? And maybe people don't think about it normally, but like for me, it just didn't make sense. Like there's so many extra bits. What do I do with them? And I was like, put them on jet bikes. And then I was like, oh,
so
that looks
cool.
Great. Because I was like, I can save myself a bit of freehand there.
Such a good idea. Such a good idea. Again, that's
all of us now.
Yeah, no, honestly, that inspired me, but not to do like exactly the same, but very similar. Like we were just talking about the Dark Elder idea. What I thought about, if I could get hold of some like these like type of masks and things that are quite like expressionless, and put them on like the hulls of my Dark Elder vehicles, and then green stuff the edges to smooth them in, I could make them look like tortured souls in the vehicle's hull. Yeah, like and do something cool like that. But
you just inspired me. I need to do that. I need to use a bit of great stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought, yeah, like if the faces were painted the same way as the hull as well, so it sort of blends it all in, like the metal or whatever it's made out of is got a soul trapped in it.
Yeah. Or imagine like it opening up as like a crater or something, and then just the face popping out.
Yeah,
like
it'd be amazing.
A poisonous green or something.
Oh, it'd be absolutely amazing. That's insane. Yeah. No, it's amazing.
You do that with your crawl boys, Daz.
My crawl boys are on the shelf feeling sorry for themselves, Lewis.
Well, time to get them off that shelf, mate.
We have first time chat. Okay, I am not reading your name out because this is going on YouTube. But hi.
Welcome.
I'll read it out later. Okay, going on to the next picture. I don't know what order they're in, so we're going to go with the randomizer. And it's the one that you're doing for Mini Wargaming Dave.
Oh, yes. The lovely Valkyr model.
This model is amazing.
Actually, it already progressed quite a bit from that picture that you're showing right now, but I want to, it's very difficult for me to not share my work in progress.
Yeah.
But this time I want to have like a bit of a surprise effect. So I'm working on it, and then once I have like at least the armor all done, like I love it. It's so much fun because I finally feel like I'm understanding NMM Silver now properly. Before that, I tried it like a few times, and every time I was like, oh, this is so difficult, a lot of back and forth. I didn't quite understand it perfectly yet, and now I'm like, okay, I see where this is going.
So
I know
cool.
how to blend now, so it works all well.
So is this a scheme that you have been instructed to follow, or have you been like, I would like to use this in this color, and off you go?
No, they've literally said like, go wild, do what you think, and I was like,
great.
Amazing. Those are my favorite words. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm loving that. It's so cool. The non-metallic silver is amazing because I know how difficult that can be, like to get you know, that right, the reflections right and things.
Yes.
I do.
It was a struggle.
I do gold a lot. I do non-metallic gold a lot. And silver I've had to do on a few things, and it drains you. It really does. And that is like amazing, like how that works. And it works with the red as well, so well. You know, like
I was thinking at first, I was like, this is like, it has so much Viking vibes. So initially when I looked at the model, like the first like colors, shapes, things that came to mind were like a very Scandinavian, Nordic Viking scheme, kind of like my flatmate played Assassin's Creed Valhalla? No. What's it called? Like
I think it is Valhalla, isn't it?
Is it Valhalla?
Maybe. So, and I loved that design in there, but then I was like, the colors I'm thinking about are like white and blue, and I was like, it's not really a chaos scheme. So I was like, okay, Silva, think chaos, like red 100%, and black, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, that's how that came about. And I was like, I'm not gonna do any non-metallic colors other than silver, because that's the one I kind of understood now, and I'm not gonna attempt a whole armor in something that I'm not confident in yet. So that's why I was definitely gonna do the silver. But yeah, it's coming together really nicely. I like it.
It is great. And thank you for the follow, Fudger Games. Thank you. I also love what you've done with. I'm actually going to I want to touch on this because, again, something that I might want to steal here is the color palette that you've used for the material, the cloth. Again, I'm thinking of using for Dark Elder stuff because it looks like awesome.
Do you like it? Because I was very unsure about this. This is something I painted while I was watching YouTube, and normally I'm in such a state of concentration, I can't watch anything or listen to anything while I paint, and so I did that like half attentively, and then it turned out to be like quite a good, like, so it looks like a used, I don't know, like not leather but linen or something.
I mean, I think that, like, obviously from the pitch, I don't know what it looks like in real life, but from the picture, and ignoring what you've painted it on, because I mean the way it flows doesn't look like it, but the tone definitely makes me think I could use that for things like flayed flesh on like Dark Elder models, where they've like stretched the flesh of like faces over their helms and things like that. It's got that sort of off color to it.
Rotten flesh vibe.
Yeah, and it's very grim dark. It's very grim dark.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right.
So I quite like it. It's got that fleshy feel to it, which makes it a little bit more disturbing, and it's gives you it's a totally different palette from the armor that you've done. You know, your armor is like very reflective, new, got really nice gradients on it from dark to light, very smooth transitions, and then you've got the material, which is very sort of like gritty, dark, grainy, and a very sort of muted palette.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I was like, maybe the contrast is a bit too much, but I have to, like, I'm gonna paint the entire armor first.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if anything, I'll add weathering to the armor. but I will see. I'll paint the whole thing first and then see if I like it or not.
Yeah, I
because
think
she also has a very cool backpack that is like a centerpiece, almost like
Right.
It's amazing. And that almost looks like it's wooden.
Okay.
It has like literally like a wooden texture, so I might have to figure out how I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
yeah, very. It's such a good model. Like there's so many details. It's crazy. So you kind of need to. What I found with miniature painting is like I start like I prime it all in black, and then I'm like, oh my god, all I see is like edges and recesses, and like I don't even understand what's meant to be what.
Right.
And then while I'm painting it, I'm like, oh yeah, right, this is a little pouch. Here we go. And then I'm like understanding what it actually is, especially like on very detailed models.
So I'm probably going to butcher this, but thank you for the follow, MKYHWTT. It's all capitals.
We've also had 2 comments from
Fudger Games. Fudger Games has
saying
commented.
The armor is lovely, and then has followed up with a question saying, is it glazed or is it a different technique?
So I posted my blending tutorial a while back. How I do all my blending is basically, I don't even. Oh, actually, so I talked to Artis Opus, and they told me it is sketching is the technique. So I put like the blends that I need. Like this is what I use for the. Oh, for fuck's sake! This just went on my laptop. All good. 1 second. I was told. I literally just watered my wet palette like just before this. And now there was some excess water, but it's fine. Doesn't matter. So this is just like a bit shiny, but you see the white to black there, like all the different shades of grey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is what I use for the silver. I sketch like where's the white part, and then where's the black darkest part.
Yeah.
And then just kind of fill in the colors in between until it looks smooth according to like my gradient that I have on the wet palette. So I'm not a big fan of glazing because I find it very time consuming and difficult and not very controlled. Like you can do it and not really know what end result you'll end up with. So I'm like a sketchy person, so I take. Yeah, I'm a sketchy person, by the way. So I take like every single gradient pretty much in between until it looks smooth. And one thing I learned as well is that as long as you're using the right shades and the right places, things don't even have to be that smoothly blended in order to look blended to the eye.
Yeah.
I don't follow that. Like I'm very crazy about blending. Like I'll spend an hour blending that one thing. But I've learned this recently on my journey on YouTube that you don't actually have to blend that crazily. So maybe I'll be a bit more easy on myself. Maybe I'll try with my own Harlequins.
Yeah.
They're not crazy.
Awesome. And hi Dan in the chat. Right, I will move on to the next model. What have we got? Okay, now we're on to some Harlequin stuff again. So here's a Harlequin. This is one that's got one yellow leg with if you got like stars and hearts and things on the other leg, which is green. That's the one there.
That one. That's the one.
That's the Shadow Seer.
Right.
That's like the best guy in the army. He's amazing. Yeah. What have you got to say about him?
Well,
so like the stripes, are they freehand?
Yes, and that's like my proudest piece of work I've done probably. Like those stripes are all freehand. Like I didn't use any tape or anything.
I tip my hat to you because yeah.
I'm also quite proud of them, not gonna lie, because that was like
I
didn't think I could pull it off.
It's good to be it's good to be proud of your own work, you know. So
yeah, with those stripes,
yeah.
So with those stripes, did you base coat black and then go white and green, or?
So I primed it. It was black in the beginning, and then I made it all white because it's quite easy to put green on top of white, but not very easy to put white on top of green. So I made it all like a layer, fully covered layer of white first, and then I sketched the green stripes on there.
Yeah.
And then I shaded the green, and that's it.
Nice. I like that.
Really cool. You got some really cool blends in there as well, and I get a vibe from this, sort of like the color palettes, like your color choices, are very much like Louise Sugden's.
Yeah, on these ones, yeah, I see what you mean. To be fair, the way this came about was I went to Warhammer World and was like, okay, all I have is like blues and greens and whites and blacks and browns, like pretty much what I used from the beginning for the Sylvanef. I need like some colors. Forced myself to get some colors, and I was like, okay, the colors I felt most drawn to are these 4. Let me show you. These 4. So I just bought them. I was like, no idea what I'm gonna do with them, but now I've got them. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make my mind up which ones I'm gonna use for the Harlequins. And I was like, I can't make my mind up. I'm actually just gonna use all of them. And yeah, that's how the Harlequin color scheme.
Amazing. That story is so cool. So random.
That's literally how I go.
So random.
Like, I start very abstract and random, and then like one thing just leads to the other, and then I'm very certain about what I want to do. I highly recommend that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that brave. I just paint the same colours over and over and over.
We linger sometimes too much on our choices.
Yeah. So again, like really awesome blends on there, and so the stripy leg is like amazing. So yeah. What's the next one? Okay, we've got more jet bike action now. So there's just another. It's a different jet bike, but it's from a different angle, so you can sort of see it from the top.
Oh wow.
Is that the big one?
No. This is. I think it's the same one, but from a different angle.
Oh, fair enough.
So it's just like from the top view. The other one was sort of like from a side view. So you can see where. Yeah. So yeah, everybody can sort of see now what you're talking about.
The faces a bit better. Maybe
the faces you can see better, and you can see your color choice from like one side being more of the blues going through to like the pinks and things.
Yeah. I wanted to create like a warp storm.
It's awesome. Yeah. And anyone that's like tuned in and missed what Sylvapaints has said about how this is done, go and check out her Instagram, and there's videos and stuff there about how to do all this. So
yes, and I also have a an IGTV video where I did it live.
Okay, cool.
It didn't take longer than 5 minutes. So
yeah, amazing.
Very easy.
So just out of interest then, so when you're doing the other parts of the models, do you go for colours that complement the colours that you've used on the other parts, or do you just go, oh that would look cool?
To be fair, I have it a lot that I do something and then I'm like, I hate this, and I'm just like paint over it and like start again. I have this a lot. Like that bike looked very different in the beginning. But like for example, I think I did initially different blends on the back parts of the wings, and I was like, oh, that doesn't match at all, like it doesn't look right. And then I redid it. I was like, oh yeah, that's a bit better. And I'm like, I'm never like fully satisfied. Like I see it, I'm like, yeah, this works, but like with the next bike I'm gonna do it a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then like that I get to like, I would do 2 smaller jet bikes first to like experiment and kind of feel like I know what I'm doing, and then I would move on to the bigger vehicle, the Star Weaver, where I'm like, okay, this is the one that has to impress.
We've got a couple of comments. Rise Stars says, awesome work. Still need to see a ultramarine Harlequin though.
One day.
And we've got someone asking, what's your favourite Citadel colour?
Ooh. Oh, that's a very deep question, because you can say like, I don't know. Probably black.
Nice.
Solid choice.
If you mean that question in terms of brand, like which color do you think Citadel is the best choice for that specific color, then I can't really talk much because I've only used Citadel colors. But in terms of if they mean the gradient, then probably black, because I use that for everything. And then white, because I use that second most. And then maybe like, I don't know, like a blue, turquoise, green. Yeah, red. No, red it is. Red.
Which red?
The Mephisto.
Solid red.
Because
Solid red.
I literally spent all morning studying this color because it drove me crazy. Because I was working on a Harlequin where I wanted his trousers to be red, and the shading and the highlighting just like I went about it in the wrong way, as I figured out then after I studied it for a bit, because I thought I take red as like the base color, put like a few darker lowlights, and then mix the red with the white to create the matching highlights, but that immediately made it look like really dull and pink.
Right.
And I was like, it's not red anymore, like it should be like fiery red, and it's not. And like I didn't understand how I should put the highlights. I literally went through all of YouTube and properly studied the color red, and now I realized that at least for red, it's the secret about it is actually not in the highlights, it's all in the lowlights, because if you want to create like a very shiny red, the lowlights and the recesses will go almost to black. So your highlight is the red. Awesome. And then you have to work a lot with the shadows.
I just want to shout out thanks for the follow to Rise Stars as well. Really, really appreciated. I'm just going to move to the next photo, but I will comment that they've also commented that the central mask on that jet bike looks like a Slipknot mask, and I have to agree, actually.
Does it?
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
Good.
So, yeah, now we're on to your bigger... It looks more like a Venom type.
Is it the Star Weaver?
Yeah, okay, maybe. Sorry, I'm really rubbish at my Harlequin names and stuff.
Don't worry, me too. I'm still learning.
So it's the slight bigger one, and you've got sort of like half and half freehand artwork. So you've got like a sun and moon.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. That was the one I was practicing the jet bikes for.
Okay.
Because it was like, that was the one that needs to impress. That's obviously the biggest vehicle.
Right.
And I did lots of different tries on what I was gonna do with that one, and then like randomly I came across someone who painted a Space Marine, I think, in like with half, like one half of it was one scheme and the other half was another scheme, and it was divided by like a blue flash.
Yeah. I've seen those. There's a few different like models that I've seen that have got the same sort of effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like, and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's so cool, like to divide something like in the middle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do with the artwork. And then did like the design kind of bit like I sketched it out on paper and put it the model and used my my swirling effect again, obviously, to make it a bit consistent. And yeah, that's how that one came about.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Thanks. I'm not happy with that one because it looks so much better in real life, and on the photo it doesn't quite look as good. But I think that's just like one of those models. Like,
to be honest, most of mine I'm like that. I spend hours painting. I'm like, this looks really cool. I'm like, I must get a photo and put it out there. And I take a photo, and no matter what lighting I move or angles and things, I'm like, this looks rubbish. But I'm like, okay, yes, I'm not posting that. But
to be fair, sometimes halfway through the process, I take a pic, or I turn on my phone camera to zoom on the model, and then I see like, oh, actually there it needs to be a bit different, or those shadows aren't dark enough at all. I need to make them way darker, and then I continue painting. Because like at least for me at the moment, I do it mainly for Instagram to share and to take pictures of it, so it really needs to look good on pictures. So it's all about those contrasts.
So Rise Stars, it's like an Alpha Legion cloak effect. Yeah, that's what we were sort of talking about. Yeah. And Fudgy Games is just pointing out that lighting is the devil.
It is.
Indeed.
It is. You really need some daylight. Otherwise, you're screwed.
Yeah. Indeed. Cool. Right, going on to the next picture. What have we got? Okay. This is the Freehand cloak.
Oh, right. Eisenhorn.
Eisenhorn, yes.
Yes. So that was actually my, funnily enough, that was my 5K giveaway.
Oh, really?
Amazing.
Yeah, so because I did a 5K giveaway as like a free commission of choice, and the winner chose Eisenhorn.
Oh wow!
And so that's what I did for him. It took about like, I was quite busy and he was very relaxed, so it took me about like 4 weeks to do him, or maybe like 5 weeks. And in the meantime, I've already hit 10K, so I was like, that whole giveaway was really not really serving the point anymore. But yeah, he was very happy with him.
Awesome.
And, it was Welsh Wargaming on Instagram. He's a lovely guy, and he chose Eisenhorn, and I was really glad he did, because the model is really ugly actually. It's, like in terms of the material, because it's resin, and there's so many little mistakes in the detail, and it's really frustrating. Like if you want to paint that, you know, he's holding his the thing he has at the back. I don't know how you'd call that, like a spear. No, it's not a spear, but like the massive sun there he has over his shoulder. That thing there. Like if you want to paint that in a non-metallic way, then it really has to be sharp edges, like really sharp edges. They need to reflect, and they're like everything but sharp. So it was like a bit frustrating to paint that one.
Everybody in the chat pointing out how awesome the Freehand is, and the chat's got that all over the place. So
it's truly incredible.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I was like, because the model was so frustrating, I was like, let's go like crazy on the cloak. Like that really needs to be the centerpiece. Like there needs to be the best freehand on there ever. Then someone sent me a picture of the symbol that they're using, like the letter. No, it's not like a letter, but like the eye with the 3 stripes, and then the
mark of the Inquisition.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, that skull looks really great, and that picture is way too realistic. And then I tried like sketching out the skull, and I was like, okay, I got like the dimensions of it quite well, but I'm gonna do like a bit more in simplistic version. And then I just kept adding shades and shades, and then I looked up and was like, hey, this looks really good. Wow. But that took like 7 hours, just the skull.
Amazing.
So,
amazing.
That not like didn't come easy off that. Like that.
So I don't know if these are in order. No, they're not in order. So sorry about that, guys. But yeah, another view of the jet bike.
the
masks on it, yeah, from the other angle. So again, just more of what we've been talking about, really.
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating because you can only like show one side.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, but it's a 3D model. Like all the sides matter.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I like seeing them from the different angles. It's each time you see it from a different angle, I think you see something you didn't see before, and things like that.
I love that I got into gaming now because I finally see my models on the tabletop. And they actually look really cool.
Yeah, isn't that a great experience though? Like the first time you put models on a table, like even though like I've been gaming like quite a few years, like the first time that you've painted something up and it goes on like a table that's quite a nice table, you know, with scenery and things. It's like a proud moment. And
You're like, oh, this is what I've been doing this for.
yeah. And because you're not looking at it like for hours on end, like that close to your face, they look better. Like because you're not picking out all the imperfections. It's like actually they fit quite well in this, you know, little miniature scene that we've created. Like, and it's really cool.
That's what I meant with the big one, with the big Star Weaver.
Yeah.
Because his freehand on the tabletop looks so good because it's not like so like a super detailed, crazy freehand because it's quite like simplistic, more like symbolism.
Yeah.
But like it looks so good on the tabletop, along with the other things. Yeah, it really motivated me to complete that little those few harlequins I have. So they look very good together.
Awesome. And
so there is another.
Okay, Lewis, you take the chat. You take the question.
I'll take the chat. Yeah. So basically, the question from Fudger Games is: when you sketch things out for freehand, do you do it with pencil or do you do it with paint?
Depends. If it's something super complex, then I would. No, I've gotten very comfortable with paint. Like I just sketch it out with white paint at this point, and like I'm normally doing it like on a black or dark blue background or something. Like if there's something that doesn't add up, then I'll just like quickly go over it. And I rather sketch things a bit too small rather than too big, and I always try to quickly sketch them out on a sketchbook first, so I know about dimensions and where I tend to go like too big or too small. And once I feel like I know what I'm doing there, then I go on the model and like sketch it out with white paint, like very lightly. And then, but with the skull, for example, it's quite easy because you basically just have that big circle, and then like something on the bottom, and then you just add to those elements, and then you add in like such small ways, like minimal ways that it's difficult to mess up.
Yeah, great question and a great answer there. And as I move into the next photo, Rise Stars asks, do you play Kill Team?
I don't, but like we said earlier, who knows what I'll get into in the future.
Yeah. And this is the Eisenhower model from the front.
Yeah. So he's like not my favorite. I don't like his pose too much. It's like it looks like he's got very short, stumpy legs. But he's just leaning forward, so it looks like he's got very short legs. But yeah, I mean, after all, he turned out well. Cute little guy.
But yeah, awesome, that model. When I say that model, I mean the paint job on it, not necessarily the model itself. Because I agree, I'm not a fan of the model, but the paint job definitely helps. Okay, so you might have to explain this one because I haven't seen this on Insta. So until you sent it, it's one of the assassins.
Oh, right. I think I've only posted this on my story.
Right.
So this is a commission I'm working on at the moment. So it's a Vindicate assassin, and he is he is a proper work in progress. So I basically was just testing out the scheme on the leg, because the guy I'm doing this for said that he has Katajan jungle fighters, and he was like he should go with those. So, and he would like him relatively classic, but with like some green in there rather than like a fully black suit. And I was like, okay, like let's see if I can pull this off. And this is when I had to I put it on my story, but I had to like look up for like, okay, latex suit, and like really messed up my search history on my phone.
So sometimes searching for inspiration for your Warhammer stuff will do that.
Yeah, I swear it's just inspiration. Yeah, I learned a lot about latex suits. Yeah, so basically that's how I kind of learned about how to paint something very shiny.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to study the objects a bit, like, because I think something I did wrong in the beginning, or not wrong, but like something that I would do differently now is like I always try to think too much in terms of the miniature paint jobs I see out there, rather than actually looking at an actual picture of the material I'm trying to recreate, and like not trying to come up with it from my head or from other miniatures that I see, but like actually looking at pictures of, I don't know, red leather, and then trying to recreate that picture is often much more straightforward than to try to come with it in your mind and like from other miniatures that you've seen out there. Yeah, so that's what I've been trying to do for him. So I'll pay him a lot more attention in January. But first I need to finish Mini Wargaming's miniature, because the campaign is currently on the go and they're about to be up for sale soon. So I want to have them finished before that, so people can see if they like it or not.
Awesome.
So early 2022. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I like that green. I think that's.
Yeah, I was quite happy that it turned out how I wanted it to. So he's gonna get a fully green suit, and then in the middle he's gonna have he's gonna blend into the stone behind him. So that's the white sketched part. This is kind of how I sketch freehands as well. Like I just take the white color and don't make it's still super transparent, but I know where the line is. So I'm gonna try to blend him into the stone behind him. And yeah, that's something for January though.
I think we're on our last image now. Dan has just commented with OMG. This is the Harlequin, with the awesomely blended sword.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what can we say about this? I mean,
I think the colours complement themselves so well on that model, from like the oranges to the green.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks. I mean, that kind of just happened. I think, isn't it that orange and green are opposite each other on the color wheel, and hence they're like feel very complementary. I think that's
again. I think this sword. I think you did a video on your Insta about how to do that as well. So definitely worth just following Sylvapaints on Instagram. Again, I'll mention it again. I'll leave a link in the description of the video. This is going to be on YouTube, obviously. Yeah, you can get all these awesome tips and tricks over there. So definitely do that.
I think what I've just noticed on that photo as well, which stands out quite really nicely, is the gemstone on the belt of the Harlequin as well.
Yeah, thanks. It was one of the first gemstones I did. I think one thing that a bit like went in the background with that one is the freehand on the leg, because there are actually quite like some really nice shapes on there, and then on the back there's like a really nice star. And I remember like those little freehands really cost some nerves. But now looking at the picture, I mean, it's a lesson. Like you look at the picture and you're like, you don't really realize, you don't notice that right away. First thing you notice is probably like the orange and the sword, and then your eyes wander. But yeah, not to obsess over like those minor details. Not everything has to be a highlight. On the contrary, like you want to pick one or two things on the miniature that really should stand out, and then the rest can be a bit like in the background.
It's awesome. It really is. And Rice Stars says would make a great Grey Knight sword too. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I have a tutorial for that on my channel.
Yeah,
where I painted. Channel, not on my channel, on my account.
On your account, go and check that out.
We're not yet on YouTube.
It'll be a channel soon.
Yes, very soon.
Yeah. So yeah, again, you can see all of the images that you've seen on this video over there, and you can look at them for as long as you like at your own leisure. You know, they're there, so go and check them out. Let me. I'm just gonna head back over to our main screen now. So yeah, we're back. You can see us. We're bigger on the screen now. So sorry, guys.
You have to put up with
my
face.
Yeah. Wow. I was thinking more me, but you know, no one wants to see that. So yeah, I mean, really, you know, inspiring stuff, and like I said before to you, like just going through the Instagram, seeing this stuff, just makes you want. It sort of gets the creative sort of juices going, you know, like for things like, even though I know that some of the stuff that I couldn't recreate myself, it gives me ideas of what I could do, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and that's what I think. What's great about like our Warhammer community, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there is so many great pieces of art out there, literally from like proper artists. So if you start like comparing I was talking to Tanya, the war mistress, about this the other day, because we said like, yeah, comparison is like the thief of joy, really, because doesn't matter how good your paint job is, there will always be someone out there who's going to do it like a little bit better. So really, to get away, I mean, it's quite tempting, because social, especially Instagram, is such a visual medium that it is all about what you see and comparing. But after all, I think that's why a lot of people have their hobby accounts, not necessarily to shove it in other people's faces, but to kind of document their own journey for them and see the progress and be like, oh, this is where I started off. Now I'm here.
Yeah.
I improved a bit. And you get a lot of inspiration from others. You see different paint styles. You like for me, it was like quite important to discover that there is like no right or wrong way of like painting a miniature, because in the beginning I definitely thought so. I thought like, this is how you paint miniature, and this is how you do blending. You have to like do glazes, and you have to spend hours on like glazing stuff. And I was like, I hate this. This is so inaccurate. Like you never know how it turns out. And then I realized, actually, this is not my style. This is not how I work and how I function. I have to see immediate results. Otherwise, I can't visualize it too so well. And that's how I kind of found my own style now. And I saw, other people are doing that as well. Like really, really good miniature painters are doing that. And I feel like I can, compare myself to them slowly but steadily. Learning and sharing progress.
And to be honest, I think you've touched on a few things that I was going to sort of mention. Because what I was going to say is basically, I think what we'll do is end this for the YouTube guys now, and then we will just carry on for a bit on Twitch, if that's okay with you. But I was just I think you've mentioned a few things there. I was just gonna end the YouTube segment by just asking about, is there any tips that you've got for anyone just starting in the hobby? You know, you have mentioned a few things, but
I mean, I would say if you're like me and very strict on yourself, and feel like there is a right and wrong way of doing things, there's not. Like, it's people love to see things being done differently and from a new perspective, because things have were being done forever in the same way, and now with like social media and like new people joining that maybe didn't necessarily weren't like Warhammer people before. They bring lots of new ideas, and it's very interesting. That's what people want to see. So yeah, don't be afraid to bring those influences in, because that's what makes it really exciting. And don't feel like there's a right or wrong way of doing things. You don't have to thin down all your paints. Like, it's not wrong not to do so. Because I thought in the beginning, if I don't water down my paints in that exact ratio, I'm doing it wrong. No, I'm not. Like, it's all about experimentation. Yeah, I guess that's the second point. Most of it will come with experience, and even though if you start at a high level, you always just improve. Like, you won't stagnate.
Some more great advice. So I mean,
absolutely.
So at this point, this is for the YouTube guys. Is if you haven't already, then obviously go and follow Sylvapaints on Instagram, and if you haven't already, then head over to Twitch and give us a follow, or better yet, a sub on Twitch. And I just want to thank Sylvapaints for coming on and joining us for this little bit of an interview. It's been awesome speaking to you about your models and your hobby journey.
Thanks very much for having me.
No problem at all.
It's been great.
Yeah, no worries. So everyone in YouTube land, Lewis and Sylvapaints, happy hobby, guys.
Yeah. Bye all.
Happy hobby. Merry Christmas.